Hello knitters, this is Tamara again, and I am now going to demonstrate how to perform round the first and second rows of turning the heel. I know that's been tricky for people. When you turn the heel, after you've done the required amount of stitches back and forth for your heel flap, you're going to turn the heel. Again, we're working just on this one set of needles with this fabric. And the first thing you're going to do is slip the stitch, and depending on how many stitches you have, you'll work to a different stitch to stop. But what you need to know is the number that you stop at is the midpoint, and then 2 more stitches past that. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. I have 16 stitches on this, so I'm going to work to 10. The half of the 16 is 8, 2, 4, 6, 8, and then this is where I'm working to. So I am going to slip the first stitch, and then I'm going to purl the remaining stitches until I've gotten 10 total. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. After I have gone 2 past my midpoint, I purl 2 stitches together. I go in from right to left. I work 2 together, and then I purl 1 more stitch. This is a small flap as an example, so I only have 3 stitches left that I'm not working. Once I've done the purl 2 together and the purl 1, I turn the work and I work on the knit side. And this time, everybody has the same instruction for row 2. Slip, again, my yarn's in the back. Slip the first stitch, and then you're going to knit 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. After I've knit 5, so I've slipped 1 and knit 5 for a total of 6, 2, 4, 6. Then I'm going to do a slip, slip, knit. So I go in as if to knit, slip. I go in as if to knit. I've repositioned both of these two. My left needle goes into the front of both of them like this, and my yarn is right here, and I'm going to wrap the back needle, and this comes through the back. So I wrap this stitch, and then I'm going to pivot so you can maybe see. I really rotate this needle in the back to bring it through. I use my finger. Now I've knit through the back. That's a slip, slip, knit. And now I knit 1 more stitch. And I should have the same amount left. I do, 3 stitches. So that means I've completed that. Now when I talk about a gap, it's the space between the stitches I've worked in the center and the stitches that have not been worked. So it's a little hard to see, but this space right here is that gap. And then there'll be a space here as well between the 3. Every time you work, it should take up stitches from either side, the same amount. I'm going to turn it around again. And now, because I knit 6, now I'm going to purl 6. Because I had to slip 1 and knit 5, I'm going to slip 1 and purl 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And what you're doing is getting to 1 stitch before the gap. This is the gap. And then the decrease joins together the stitches on either side. So here's the gap in the middle. I'm purling together. So instead of thinking about purling 5, knitting, purling 6, knitting 5. So now that I've purled that 2 together, I'm going to purl 1 and turn. And I'll have 1 left. So what I want you to know is every time you're working, you should be knitting or purling until you're 1 stitch left before the gap. So now I have to do the same on the knit side. I'm going to slip the first stitch, and I'm not even going to count. I'm going to knit until I'm 1 stitch before the gap. So I'm going to fix my camera. And it looks like I have 2 before the gap. So I have 1 more to knit, And now here's the gap. So I'm going to slip these two together, and that's how I close it. I go into slip, slip, my needle goes in the front of both, knit together, and I'm knitting one more stitch, and I have the same number on either side, spaces. And now, when you're done with your size, you're going to probably run out of stitches and just be able to knit two together, slip, slip, knit, or purl. So I'm going to slip one here, I'm going to purl, and I'm going to get to where there's only one stitch on the other side of my gap. So I'm going to end this row on purl two together. So I am almost there. Okay, I have one stitch left on either side of the gap. I purl two together, and that side is completed, but I still have to do the knit side. So I turn it, and this is going to be my last row for this little heel. And even though this has worked, you're still going to keep slipping. So I'm slipping this guy, and I'm going to knit to the last two stitches. All right, I'm getting to the last two. See that gap there? I'm going to slip, slip, knit these two. So I slip, and now I go in. Whoops, there. And they are done. And after I did that, I've worked all of them. So I don't end with a knit one, I end with that slip, slip, knit, and that took all the stitches. And I want you to see, come on camera, I have this little bit of shaping. It's small because I started with a small one, but this is my little heel, turned heel. And it's, let's see if you could see the side. So this is to make a little heel cup. And now the heel has been completely turned. And I have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So I started with 16 and I have 10 stitches left on my heel. That's it. I hope that was helpful.